What's up, meta nerds? This video is all about CT-5385, also known as Tup. Tup was a member of the 501st Legion, which served under the command of Jedi General Anakin Skywalker, and later became the 501st Battalion of Darth Vader, where it earned the nickname Vader's Fist. One of the few times when command was transferred over to another Jedi General, Tup and the 501st served under Pong Krell during the Battle of Umbara. This was one of the most intense battles of the Clone Wars, and perhaps did the greatest damage to the Republic's image, as Krell decided that he would use the siege of Umbara to impress his future master Count Dooku. Krell believed the Republic was doomed to lose the Clone Wars, and wanted to be on the winning side, so he deliberately chose tactics that would bring about the most clone casualties, something which Jesse and Fives took notice of. They could not see that it was full treason, but thought that in the very least, the Basilisk Jedi had no respect for clone life. When they betrayed Krell's orders, he had them court-martialed and sent to be executed, and though Dogma ordered the clones to fire on their brothers, the troopers of the firing squad, including Kix and Tup, intentionally missed their shots and threw down their blasters. Rex saluted this defiance of Krell's orders, but right after this, the 501st had to rush off and engage a wave of Umbaran fighters who were quickly descending on their position. Through the eerie glow of the dense jungles, a chaotic firefight erupted, but Rex realized that they were firing on other clones. It is unknown how many brothers from the 212th Tup may have killed, but the dying words from Waxer revealed that Krell had set this whole thing up. Together, Obi and Annie's troopers teamed up to relieve the general of his duties, and in the fight that ensued, Tup was nearly killed by the terrifying creature known as the Vixus. Tup told the clones to lure Krell near the creature, and though it did capture the Jedi, the traitor was able to cut himself free, and would have escaped if it wasn't for Tup's perfectly timed stun blast. But his status as hero of the Republic would not last for very long, as the event that he would become most known for was his own murderous betrayal. Although the official reason for this is that his bioinhibitor chip malfunctioned, causing him to execute Clone Protocol 66, I do wonder if malfunction was the best word to use. I'm not at all blaming Tup for this, but it's an interesting point about these chips that a lot of people don't consider. It isn't like this chip was separate, a completely detached piece of technology that would only work top-down, like a computer microchip that just sends electrical impulses to the brain. Instead, this was organic, inserted into their brain from the third stage of embryonic development, so it would be affected by other neurons in the clone trooper's brain. We don't know what happened with Dogma, the clone that actually killed Pong Krell, but I believe that Tup's involvement in defying his Jedi General, firing on him even if in stun mode, would affect a biofeedback loop associated with the actions programmed into the inhibitor chip. This chip would have to work on a voice command, that when the Emperor says execute Order 66, the brain does some set of actions XYZ. But to use an oversimplified neuroscience phrase, neurons that fire together wire together, these series of neurons could also be activated backwards, that when a clone does actions similar to XYZ, it would in some ways activate the inhibitor chip. Like I said, this is a gross oversimplification, perhaps a whole video on how inhibitor chips could work, and real-life examples should be done one day, but this feedback loop is in part one of the theories for Deja Vu, where your actions and or stimuli may be so close to those of a memory that it partially excites those stored memories, and you may feel like you experienced this moment long ago. It is also why doing something like hitting a punching bag may bring up memories of fights, or even just things related to fighting. Doing the action brings forth the stored memory, and the inhibitor chip is a form of stored memory, that as a clone, I know I am supposed to kill the Jedi when I hear Order 66. So it is very interesting that it would be the clone who fired on a Jedi in the past that would snap into this trance and eventually kill a Jedi on Ringo Vinda. Of course, it is probably multiple variables coming together at once, like this memory feedback loop, an actual malfunction in the chip, and Tup's own genetic variants, as Jedi General Tiplar was definitely not a threat to Tup or a traitor. But I definitely wanted to present you guys with this idea that the memory feedback loop may have interfered with the inhibitor chip. After Tup was tackled by Rex, he was detained and transferred to Kamino for examination. The cover was that the attack was the result of a separatist virus, but Fives grew suspicious and was able to extract the inhibitor chip. As Tup lies on the operating table, his voice is one of relief, not fear, as he realizes that he is about to die. Tup mutters about being free from the mission. Five is confused as to what mission he's talking about, to which he gets the response, "You know the one in our dreams, that never ends. Oh brother, this is the end. Forget the mission, Oh, the nightmare. I'm free. Although he was confused at first as to what mission Tup was talking about, once he says the one from our dreams, 5 seems to get it, and you have the fact that Tup expected him to understand the phrase, "you know the one," and "our dreams," which makes me think that the clones may have discussed this weird dream that they all had, perhaps ones in which they killed the Jedi. This would make sense for what I was saying earlier about the chip being integrated into their brain, and thus you would expect that these subconscious aspects of their thoughts would be likely to reveal themselves in some form in the clones' dreams. In other videos, I have talked about how Kaminoan said that humans were one of the most difficult species to clone completely identical due to the wide amount of variables in genes and personality. So imagine how hard it would be for a non-human species to try and hide programmed actions from the conscious mind without taking into account or even fully understanding the human mind's self-analysis ability through the act of dreaming. So that's it for the life of Tup, but you definitely want to hear these cool facts and behind-the-scenes stuff. Tup may be one of the most gangster clones of all time, since he was the first to kill a Jedi, and he also had a teardrop tattoo, which is a known prison and gang tattoo, mostly used to symbolize that you have killed someone, although there is a very different second explanation for it, which I will leave on screen for you to pause if you want to read it. But really, either of these meanings is a surprisingly dark choice for a design on a Clone Wars character that appears on Cartoon Network. Even his name can be seen as a bit provocative. With Tup having 2 meanings in British English, it could just mean ram, but if you use Tup as a verb, you're talking about the kind of reproduction done outside of the Kaminoan laboratory. So yes, kids, there is a Clone Wars character with a teardrop gang tattoo, and whose name is slang for the F word. So that's it for CT-5385, also known as Tup. But more important than all that, remember, you're not yourself when you have an inhibitor chip, and the Force will be with you. Always.